everyone, welcome to Careful Design. So we're going to do a demonstration, and I'll do this step by step from beginning to end just because building one of these design packages usually takes quite a bit of time. So the very first thing we're going to do is to come up with an idea. So you may have already written a story. If you have written a story, then you can stick with that story, whatever it is that you've written if you wrote a story for it. But I'm going to write a short story right now for this, and then I'll do sketches. So to come up with an idea, I want to listen to, partly write the story and text to speech. And I'll choose this narrator. I like science fiction, so it's going to be space pirates. That's kind of cool. There's a lot of shows and games about space pirates. Okay, write something. Literally just make it up. That's where everything comes from. So we'll just make this up, and we'll just read what it says.
Three spacefaring adventurers set out into the unknown galaxy in their classic spacecraft. Classic actually refers to an old beat-up third-hand junk heap of a craft that can barely fly. Nonetheless, they set off on their adventure among the stars.
Okay, let's start there. All right. So there's a story. You can make up anything you want. All stories that you guys hear anywhere, it's simply made up. Someone just made it up. That's where they always start. All stories start like that. Someone just literally makes it up. Okay, what do they look like? So you have to decide what kind of style you want this to be. Do you want it to be hyper real? Do you want it to be a cartoon style? Do you want it to be, kind of in between, like a graphic style? What do you want the story to look like? Let's start with lines. Switch the brush to the very top, the default 123 round. Turn off transfer. Turn on shape dynamics. Go into the word shape dynamics, and I'll just reset it back. So that's the default settings right there. So it's back to default. Make sure the flow and the opacity are all the same because I want it to be solid. And you would normally have a grid at the bottom, like this. And you kind of design based on that. If you want, you don't have to. This might feel restrictive. If it does, then don't worry about it. It's going to be 3, but I don't know if I'm going to do them all 3 together. I'm going to sketch with silhouette. Silhouette is my favorite way. And erase a bit, draw a bit, erase a bit, draw a bit. So there's one starting point. And you would go over this quite a few times and do tons of sketches. And when I've worked at studios, sometimes you do 20, 30, 40, 50 sketches for a design. It's not just the first drawing that you do. So you do a lot of iterations. That's a starting point. Now, if you want to sketch on it, you can duplicate that. Control U, turn it to grayscale. A little bit lighter, like that. Hold Control, select the box. And on the new layer, start to draw on top of that. Control H to hide the lines. And you can define your character after you come up with it. So I think you would be able to see the face on this. Okay, It's the beginning, and it will warp into quite a few other things. And that's those two techniques from the book. So start with your perspective grid, gather your reference. Sorry, write your bit of your story, gather your reference, start with your perspective grid, and then silhouette, and then turn that to grayscale, and then you can start your sketching on top of that. Okay, once you have one sketch, you take that one sketch and copy paste and warp it. So we'll do a sample of that. You can do, and you could also redesign a sketch on top of the sketch. So just turn off the sketch and redraw, however you want to do it. But let's take this original silhouette, this one, and copy it. That's an okay design. It's not my favorite. All right, take the first one and just erase a few things. Be quite sketchy with it. Maybe the head's going to be different, but you might keep parts of it. So this will help you break it up. Then you can also warp it. Maybe it's taller, wider, maybe part of it is thinner. I'm not sure which one's the primary character yet. It might be this one. The benefit of using silhouette is you can sculpt out the silhouette shape and not worry too much about the interior lines. So it helps you think a little bit more about the outside shape rather than all the details. So that's why I like silhouette more than line drawings. When you're drawing with line, you're looking for all the details, which is a hard enough task. But if you break it into steps, like silhouette first and then the line, the silhouette sort of takes care of the shape, the outside shape first. So then you can focus on the interior shapes. That's cool, like that. So once you've done a few sketches, and you look back at the first one, you'll probably see it might need a lot more changes than the last one. Another trick, if you want to get the line work for your character, you can edit and stroke. So it gives you a bit of line to work with. And it's just for the sketch, so it doesn't have to be perfect line right now. I'll keep the helmet on, and then afterwards I'll adapt the helmet, because that's going to be the helmet, but this is going to be the head. So I'll have to make the helmet quite a bit larger, but I'll just finish the design first. Sometimes I break symmetry, so breaking symmetry would be the design on one side is very different than the design on the opposite side. So the left side, the right side don't match. But then sometimes you want some things to be symmetrical, like on the head and the chest. So some things are symmetrical, some things are not. Okay, these two would have to be cleaned up to that level, but I'm going to focus on this one because I have a pretty nice drawing of a head for it. I like that. So that's going to be the head of that character. So once I finish painting the character, I'm going to enlarge the helmet so it fits around that head. It just looks odd. It doesn't match the alien. It matches. Yeah, it's perfect. Cybergirl. This one looks the oddest. The first one. It would work. I would just have to clean it up. But I wanted to clean up this one first because it looks better. Okay, let's paint it. So first for painting, just use 3 tones. So that's the base color, and there's a lot of details. Usually the joint areas are darker, so look at the darker purple. And turn off shape dynamics. It's moving. It's the line. Label it. This is, what is that? And this is the sketch. This is color. And just give it a color code so you know which one it is. And that's the heads. I might get rid of the space helmet altogether and just leave the suit with that head. Maybe that would work even too. Alright, let's go back to the color layer. Just paint darker areas. There's this new type of suit that you wear that's like an exoskeleton, except it's fibrous. So it has muscle that looks like that. It almost acts like human muscle, very fibrous. When you move, it moves, but it gives you like 10 pounds more strength. It's pretty cool. Usually give a darker shadow color for anything, any joint area between things, like the hoses or joints between the elbow, upper arm, lower arm, the joint around the shoulder. Make those spaces darker. I actually start with 3 similar tones, and I don't change the color until after I get at least three to 4 tones. And you think of it like a checkerboard. So adjacent forms or shapes cannot have the same color as the one beside it. Yeah, look at what this, and that's going to be pretty cool. Okay, File save.